a lot of people upset about the Memphis State. I saw more people upset about the fact that he gave Memphis State love and then picked Liberty in his 12-team college football playoffs.
I want to throw that out there right now. 901-360-8255 at the Sissy Log Cabin text and talk line. Did it bother you that he said Memphis State? Does it still bother Tiger loyalists, partisans, grads, friends, countrymen? Because I think there's a way you can say it that would kind of maybe cut to the quick.
Sure.
And then there's the old school that just maybe hadn't gotten used to it, which it took me a while too. And it's also ironic because way back 50 years ago when it was absolutely Memphis State, It was on every diploma, it was on every building. Denny Crum went to great lengths to only call them Memphis then, and that used to outrage everybody. So we're full circle in the outrage world.
That's great. I love that. No, I loved it. I think anytime Nick Saban gives your school a shout out, whether he says the name that it currently is or the name that it used to be, whatever it is, it makes me happy. So thank you, Nick.
I want those texts, though, because I want to see – and let me know the age because I want to see if it's generational because kind of some of us, 55 and up, we can slip a little bit. And then the youngsters that see sometimes when you have throwback games and Coach Hardaway breaks out the best-looking uniforms in college basketball that says Memphis State. So, where's the dividing line, or is it one?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. So, yeah, definitely text into the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255, and let us know your thoughts. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day, because we have a ton to get into this afternoon at 3:30. It's game week for college football, week 1, so we'll take a look around, start looking at some of these games, especially the local games with some of the local teams, Memphis, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Tennessee. We'll definitely take a little bit of a closer look at those games and what we're looking for in this week 1 game, because a lot of these games against FCS schools or lower schools, so we'll definitely talk about what we're looking for in those games. 3:45, we'll get to some of our W's and L's. We're starting with Rice, Temple, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. We'll get to those wins and losses at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us, talk a ton of college football, what he saw over the weekend, what he's looking forward to this week for week 1 in college football. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. He's a Tiger football beat writer. He'll join us. A lot of Tiger football news coming out. We've got depth charts out this morning. It's game week, of course, so we got to talk about what he wants to see. Stadium renovations they're starting to make it look nice for game 1. So a little bit of everything with Jonah Dillon at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to more wins and losses. Navy, Charlotte, Missouri, and Kentucky. We'll knock those out at 5:30, and then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, though, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. And get over to Family Leisure for the world's biggest spa sale going on right now. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spas starting at $28.99. Cold plunges starting at $39.99. And swim spas starting at $17,499. Special financing, it's available at Family Leisure, and huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools, too. And don't forget about the patio furniture. All patio furniture is priced to move, so head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Darian Newsom, we're Sports Time. He's Brian, I'm Brett. We're with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show at the aforementioned Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line, 901-360-8255. All our guests will appear on that same number on the guest line at 901-360-8255. This is the Monday, August 26, 2024 edition of Sports Time, and it's brought to you, this first hour is brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they want you to stop by 2600 Ridgeway at the one and only Lexus dealership in town and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be week 0 action from over the weekend. Saturday morning got us started at 11 a.m. in Dublin. Florida State and Georgia Tech. I know a lot of people here locally were paying attention to that game because here in a couple weeks, Memphis will be down in Tallahassee to face Florida State. And what we saw was an interesting game. I thought Georgia Tech looked really good. I thought Florida State at times looked good. At other times, I thought they did not look very good. The offensive line, I thought, was a little disappointing. I thought the defensive line, the linebacking, the run defense for Florida State was a little bit disappointing, but they did have some bright spots. I thought early their run game was really good. It didn't feel like they could get any consistency to the run game. DJ Uiagalelei looked okay at times, looked bad at other times. It's kind of what DJU has become as a player.
Sure was.
You're not going to ask him to go out there and win you games. He's just a quarterback, and he's a middle of the road. If you can put him in a system that, like he was at in Oregon State, he's going to look really good.
DJU spells average.
You're absolutely right, and he was very average in that game. So Georgia Tech wins that game, but the rest of the games on Saturday, maybe games that people weren't as much looking forward to, were also awesome. New Mexico entered their game as a 2-touchdown underdog against Montana State, and I'm telling you, Brett, whoever in Vegas thought it was a good idea to make Bronco Mendenhall a 2-touchdown underdog, I'm sorry, they need to lose their job. I mean, it was just a bad decision by them. They cover easily. They probably should have won the game. But Montana State, with their great run game that they really couldn't get to early, but in that second half, really got to, they were able to come back and win. We got SMU and Nevada. What was SMU doing throughout that game? Penalties all over the place. Bad quarterback play, really could not get into any sort of rhythm until the end of the game when they were able to get a safety and then drive down the field and beat Nevada to pick up their first win as an ACC football team. And then we ended it with Hawaii and Delaware State. Yes, I stayed up for it. Yes, I watched it. Yes, there was a tropical storm going on. And Hawaii, they did not cover. I felt very good about them covering that number. They did not. They won, I think, 34-14. Fun game nonetheless.
Didn't Saturday really highlight that the world – here's the Yogi Bear line. The world's really a big place, isn't it?
It sure is.
The weather in every place was so
crazy.
Such a contrast.
It sure was.
From the cold in Dublin to the cold in Reno to tropical storm to I'm leaving out heat somewhere. Where was the heat?
The heat was – where was it?
New Mexico.
That's right. It was hot in New Mexico.
Imagine that.
Yes, shocker.
Hot in New Mexico. My top story. It's game week for everyone, and the weekend was fun with Georgia Tech over Florida State. And we will see this weekend, as Bryant said at the top, we'll see it play out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Don't let the college football news in the month of May get you down. I tell people that every year. Because when we're in May, all we hear is all the negative. We hear money. We hear NIL. We hear portal. We hear eligibility. We hear realignment. We hear mad parents. We hear mad players. We hear about mad coaches. There's a point every May where I get to thinking, are we going to have college football this year? Are we actually going to get to the starter's gate? Well, we always do.
Yeah, we do.
And then magically, we get to the tailgates, we get to the stadiums, we get to the games, we get to the towns, we get in front of our 7 screens in front of us, and poof, it goes away. There's no problems. College football is just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is something that we talked about on Friday, and it's going to be a conversation that's going to be out there until we get more information. On Friday, we were talking about the fact that UConn met with Big 12 presidents and ADs ADs last week to talk about the idea of UConn joining the Big 12, not only in basketball that had been kind of floated out there before, but in every sport, with the plan for football to join later down the road. All sports joining as early as 2026, but football being delayed till down the road as they were going to have to meet some thresholds.
But they got to go get a team.
That's a good point.
That's the threshold.
Yes,
They've got to establish a football program at UConn.
Well, yes, and they were really, a good team for a while there, and now, in obscurity for sure. But this just came down from Pete Thamel at the top of this hour. Sources: the Big 12 presidents and ADs met about UConn today. No vote was taken on admitting the Huskies as expected. The call was informational in nature and discussion focused. It was led by the Big 12's outside consultant, which walked through UConn's media and market value. So it definitely sounds like, after we heard those reports last week, that there are conversations going on with the Big 12, real conversations about the idea of UConn joining the conference. We talked about it a lot on Friday. What does that mean for college athletics? What does that mean for Memphis? And I know one thing it means, Brett. A lot of people thought the realignment was over, and it is far from being over.
It never ends. My not top story is today is depth chart Monday. It's classes starting Monday at a lot of places, and it's also game note Monday. I've been buried under. Well, I haven't been buried under me more. They're all online. I'm not buried under anything. Yes. My eyes have been buried under a lot of game notes today, and someone will lose players when those depth charts go up. At Ole Miss, there was no depth chart released in the game notes. A lot of people very reluctant to release them. But if you're unhappy now over a depth chart, how team oriented are you? How much are you really going to contribute to your team? Might
question.
Be good riddance. I mean, look, right now it's everybody out for themselves in college football and college sports. It's Darwinism on display at its best. And if a player sees somebody listed first and he wants to get out of town, there's the door.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's a new world of college athletics, and you're right. I mean, now that's just another thing coaches have to worry about in terms of trying to keep their team together, is posting the depth chart.
Especially at quarterback.
Oh, yes, quarterback, signal callers, some of those weapons on the outside maybe. It can get a little tricky out there. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the games this week and some of the local teams and what we're expecting to see in their first game. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
The Farm Hall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list. From hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farm Hall that's right for you.
I felt like we were really lucky to have a place like Genesis. There are several jewelry stores, I know, but I don't think any of them can match up to Genesis.
Meet Beth Gear, another thrilled Genesis Diamonds customer.
Yeah, the whole experience was wonderful. I felt really super comfortable, and I felt confident that we were getting the best deal for the money, too.
But for Beth, it was more than just getting a great price.
I'd say the value was extraordinary. Even if the price had been slightly more, I think we would have still chosen Genesis just because we felt that there really was a personal connect. We felt like they really wanted us to be happy.
Genesis Diamonds, where you and your budget are respected from the minute you walk in.
No matter what your budget is, Genesis will work with you. They never make you feel uncomfortable if you don't have the biggest budget. They are very respectful of our
Hi, it's Colin. I just discovered J-Lab headphones, and I am totally hooked. J-Lab imagines and delivers personal tech, headphones, earbuds, and office accessories that consumers want. Try the J-Buds Lux over-ear headphones for noise-canceling travel. Discover your perfect pair of headphones. Look for the J-Lab Blue Box at Target, Walmart, Best Buy, and more. Or visit jlab.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or Memphis